As we bring ourselves into this space together this morning, I'll invite you to start with singing. Turn to hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. Welcoming congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration on your journey. For those of you who may be first-time visitors this morning, welcome. Welcome on this morning, which we make sacred by our presence together. A big welcome as well to people who are joining us on the virtual stream. We are glad you're here. Let's give them a wave. I am Reverend Bran Lennox, the bereavement leave minister here at First Parish Brewster. I am honored to be welcoming you to the service with our worship associate, Margaret Rice-Moyer, and our wonderful new accompanist, Lisa Gross. Our services are recorded and available with transcribed subtitles on our YouTube channel midweek. If you had trouble hearing last week's service and you want to catch what you missed, you can watch it with closed captions enabled using the CC button on the video screen. We do ask that all over the age of 4 mask while in our buildings. This means using an appropriate face covering, which fully covers your nose and mouth and fits flat against your cheeks. Wearing a face covering can take some adjustment, so I'll be reminding you periodically to make sure that it hasn't slipped down. By masking, we demonstrate care for each other's health and well-being and uphold the first, second, fifth, and seventh principles of Unitarian Universalism. We welcome the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring to our services. Please take this moment, however, to check that your cell phone is on silent. We ask that all wear name tags or fill out the sticker name tags in an effort to be more welcoming. Do you need a magnetic name tag ordered? Please contact Marcia Kelb by January 30th. In community news announcements, you are invited by the Right Relations team to attend a virtual listening circle today after the service at 11:30 via Zoom. Please see Friday's angle for the Zoom link. Listening circles are offered as a sacred holding space for the sharing of the personal and congregational grief that has been carried during this time of COVID isolation. This is a time to be together and a wide invitation to share in the sacred circle the pain of grief and loss. It is a time to hear, to hold, and to heal. Over the next few weeks, members of the UU Connections Committee will be collecting the previously distributed guest at your table boxes after Sunday services. Please consider submitting a check made out to the UUSC rather than coins. Whichever you decide to do, either will be gratefully received. The Board of Trustees has made the decision to change Reverend Jessica's leave to bereavement leave. It will end as previously planned in mid-May. Reverend Jessica wishes to express to the congregation deep appreciation for all the kind notes and expressions of love and concern she has received from our congregation. In addition to the intensity of events which have been happening in the life of this community, many of us are also going through our own personal sorrows and joys. I, Reverend Bran, am here with the express purpose of providing pastoral support for you. If you could use a listening ear or any other type of pastoral care, please do reach out. Nothing is too big or too small. My contact info can be found on our website. Next Sunday, you are invited to join us for a service led by yours truly and worship associate Wilderness Sarchild. The topic of the service is Dancing with the Frost, a reflection on the ways that winter can bring us closer together by teaching us how to find spaciousness within our discomfort. All are welcome next Sunday at 10 a.m. Welcome to our service today. It is so good to be together. In addition to our traditional chalice this morning, we will also be lighting a special new candle, which symbolizes our collective love for Reverend Jessica in this time of heartbreak. With this candle, we also honor and remember the beautiful and brief life of Penelope Ann Clay.
What do we do when our dreams don't come true? When the delicious confidence in all possibilities falls flat? What do we do? Much of what I'm most proud of in myself is the result of personal grief and pain and disappointments. Those times when life forced me to reconfigure myself in order to survive. When my father died suddenly, just as I was evolving into a person he might really want to know, his death plunged me into confusion and grief, the result of the unfinished nature of that ending. When a student I was particularly close to died following a meal at Burger King at 5 years old, I considered leaving the profession, turning my back on the career I loved to avoid experiencing such a loss again. There are a number of personal events that I credit as defining moments in my own development, events that required me to make a choice between feeling safe and leaving pain behind, or feeling out there, exposed, and allowing all the many feelings: failure, fear, lack of control, and insecurity to humble me. And those events teach me how to be resilient in the face of a random universe where bad things happen to good people. I'm not trying to say that all our bruises and twists and turns in our plans are easy to overcome or to survive. For sure, as a white woman with the resources that implies, I had much help. So I must lift up those who are forced to live in worlds where opportunities for transformation are few and far between. Poverty, race, disease, and displacement are additional barriers for many who look towards wholeness from a place of brokenness. But resilience is a worthy goal. I look to you. Some of you are my mentors in living boldly despite trauma and failures. Our communal lives, particularly within our Unitarian Universalist faith, are a good part of how we are able to recreate ourselves. Sometimes, even in the bleakest situations, the Spirit rises and builds monuments out of the rubble of despair. We see it all the time. John Lewis, Maya Angelou, Jamie Raskin, Simone Biles. Let these people be our heroes. Let us, too, learn from each other how our vulnerabilities can also be our greatest strength. Let us light this morning's chalice with our hearts open to all that life has to offer, not just the good, but also the inevitable bad. Will you please rise as you are willing and able and join us in singing hymn number 6.
Thank you.
And the young and young at heart, I'd love it if you'd come forward and join me for a time for all ages. So we've got one or two folks coming forward here. And I mean that young at heart folks as well. You're welcome. Hello. Come on over. Well, I have to say, I am really glad that you're here today because I need your help with something. I need your advice. You see, I have this friend, his name is Filbert the squirrel. Do you like squirrels? Yeah, me too. Filbert, I need his advice to help, I need your advice to help me help Filbert. He's actually my pen pal. We write letters to each other. And in Filbert's last letter, he told me about a really bad day that he had. Let me read you his letter. Dear Reverend Bran, how are you? I'm not so great. My Tuesday was just no good. I woke up really, really late because I forgot to set my alarm. And as soon as I saw what time it was, I panicked because I was going to be late for squirrel school. I rushed around trying to find everything that I needed to leave for school, but then, oh no, I remembered that I had promised to bring a snack for everybody. When I went to get my acorns out of the cupboard to bring them in for a snack, I couldn't find them anywhere. I couldn't remember where I put my acorns, and I had to leave without them. On my way to school, I was in such a hurry that I tripped over my own tail, and I fell. I wasn't hurt, but I got a dirt stain on my new pants. And then when I finally made it to school, I found out that I got a bad grade on my last test. I am so disappointed. I did my best, but I just couldn't remember the right answers. When I finally got home, I just wanted to read my favorite book. I sat down and I read my book until bedtime. I didn't remember that I had wanted to go to the snow fort party after school. All my friends went and they thought that I would be there, but I totally forgot to go. I was so frustrated, and I started to think some pretty lousy things about myself after all those mistakes. But then I thought, maybe I can ask Reverend Bran first. Can you and your friends help me figure some things out? Love, Filbert. Oh, that's a really hard day, right? Sounds like a lot of bad things happened. So what do you think? Should we try to answer some of Filbert's questions and help him out? What do you think? Okay, I think so too. So here's what Filbert had to ask. Do other people forget things too? Yeah. Does anybody else make mistakes like my mistakes? Is there anybody who never forgets things or makes any mistakes? No. Is it possible to go a whole year and never make a mistake at all? What about a month? What about a week? What about one day? Probably not. When lots of things go wrong in one day like that, does it mean that somebody's mad at me? No. Does it mean that I deserved to have a bad day? No. I think I want to tell Filbert that it's okay to have a hard time with some things, because everybody has different things that they're good and bad at. I want to tell him to keep trying things until he finds something that he likes to do and feels good at. What do you think? You think so? Yeah. Is there anything else that anybody would like to tell Filbert?
He's not alone. You're okay just as you are.
He's not alone, and he's okay just as he is. Anybody else? Do you want to tell Filbert anything?
Life is good.
Life is good. I like that. I I think I also want to tell Filbert that we love him. Well, thank you all for helping me answer Filbert's questions, and thank you especially for your answers, and being so kind and compassionate to him. We will now sing the children out to their activities, and we're going to use the number 414 in the gray book instead of what's printed in your order of service. As you leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness that you learn light your hearts till you return. Please join me now in the spirit of prayer. Source of all that we are, give us the courage to hold the truths of our lives. Give us the compassion to hold that same space for each other. We are still a community in grief, shared and individual. We ask for peace in our hearts, to hold the tremendous fear and sorrow of an ongoing pandemic, and the strength to continue choosing the hard paths that keep each other safer. This week, we grieve beside our young people who are suffering the unthinkable loss of a peer. We pray for the spaciousness to support each other well in the presence of this pain and begin the process of healing. We are also remembering the life of Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who died this week after 95 years of devotion to bringing a greater wholeness to humanity. We remember the lessons that he shared, such as this one. A wave does not have to die in order to become water. She is water right here and now. Our deepest practice is to touch the ultimate dimension in ourselves every day. Let us deepen our awareness of the water that connects us. Let us find compassion in that ultimacy. Spirit of all that we are, guide us with grace through the sorrows and joys of the coming week. May it be so. And now let us continue our prayer with a moment of shared silence. Each week, we have the practice of splitting our offertory plate. Half of what is collected goes to the work of First Parish, and the other half goes to a worthy organization nominated by someone in the congregation. Today, our split plate goes to Cape Cod Verdean. Nope. I made a mistake, y'all. That was last week. Does anybody remember where the UU Mass Action? Thank you. UU Mass Action, I know for sure, is a UU organization that helps support social justice action throughout the state. Thank you. It has been mobilizing and organizing the 20,000 Unitarian Universalists and 142 congregations in Massachusetts in order to confront oppression. Their pathways to justice are selected by identifying priorities in which congregations are engaged. UU Mass Action, along with UU congregations, assess legislation and identify the most vulnerable people in our Commonwealth. Your offering will benefit this organization and the great work of this congregation, so please give as generously as possible. There are a couple of ways you can give today. You can text to give. The number is in your order of service. You can put a check or cash in the offering basket, or for those who are streaming in, you can donate on our website. However you choose to give today, your generosity is appreciated. The offering will now be gratefully received.
So beautiful. This reading by Brene Brown. 1. If we are brave enough, often enough, we will fall. This is the physics of vulnerability. When we commit to showing up and risking falling, we are actually committing to falling. Daring is not saying, I'm willing to risk failure. Daring is saying, I know I will eventually fail, and I'm still all in. Fortune may favor the bold, but so does failure. 2, once we fall in the service of being brave, we can never go back. We can rise up from our failures, our screw-ups and falls, but we can never go back to where we stood before we were brave or before we fell. Courage transforms the emotional structure of our being. This change often brings a deep sense of loss. 3, this journey belongs to no one but you. However, no one successfully goes it alone. Since the beginning of time, people have found a way to rise after falling. Yet there is no well-worn path leading the way. All of us must make our own way, exploring some of the most universally shared experiences, while also navigating a solitude that makes us feel as if we are the first to set foot in uncharted regions. And to add to the complexity, in lieu of the sense of safety to be found in a well-traveled path or a constant companion, we must learn to depend for brief moments on fellow travelers for sanctuary, support, and an occasional willingness to walk side by side. For those of us who fear being alone, coping with the solitude inherent in this process is a daunting challenge. For those of us who prefer to cordon ourselves off from the world and heal alone, the requirements for connection, of asking for and receiving help, that becomes the challenge. 4, we're wired for story. In a culture of scarcity and perfectionism, there's a surprisingly simple reason we want to own, integrate, and share our stories of struggle. We do this because we feel the most alive when we're connecting with others and being brave with our stories. It's in our biology. 5, courage is contagious. Rising strong changes not just you, but also the people around you. To bear witness to the human potential for transformation through vulnerability, courage, and tenacity can be either a clarion call for more daring, or a painful mirror for those of us stuck in the aftermath of the fall, unwilling or unable to own our stories. Your experience can profoundly affect the people around you, whether you're aware of it or not. And finally, 6. Getting back on our feet does not require religion, theology, or doctrine. However, without exception, the concept of spirituality emerges from the data as a critical component of resilience and overcoming struggle. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to one another by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and belonging. So ends the first reading.
I have to say what a joy it was to preach here last week, and how warm and welcoming everybody has been to me so far. I am excited to discover what we will create together today. But no matter how warm the welcome or how much ministry training has prepared me for this time of getting to know each other, it still feels important to make a good impression. Starting off on the right foot for me, however, is less about showing off and more about entering into an intentional relationship of openness and even vulnerability. The business of church leadership is often about creating hope out of the most challenging places. So in that spirit, this morning, I want to engage in a lighthearted talk about one of our culture's most loaded topics, which is failure. I'm sure we can agree challenging ourselves is a part of everyday life. Culturally, we like to believe that if we try hard enough and plan properly, we can do anything at all we put our minds to. Just search the internet for motivational quotes, and the top results are an inundation of individualist mottos like, "Nothing is impossible for those who try," and "Wake up determined, go to bed satisfied." The truth we just don't want to face, however, is that failure happens. Don't be ashamed to admit it. Sometimes we arrive at the bus station just in time to watch it pull away or use salt in a recipe instead of sugar. We've all faced the frustration of these little failures, and by adulthood, most of us have developed adequate ways of coping with them. But where do we turn when the stakes are higher? So let me tell you a story about the death of my dream. My freshman year of high school, I approached my ballet teacher after class one night, and with all my teenage courage, naivety, and awkwardness, I informed her that I had made up my mind and I wanted to go professional someday. She looked me up and down and said, "Well, we'd better get working." For the next 3 years, I took every ballet class that my school offered. I spent my summers sweating away in national residential programs. I danced thousands of dollars worth of point shoes straight to ribbons, and I even quit high school to focus on my training. At age 17, I moved alone to Philadelphia, where I spent 2 deathly years training at ballet boarding school. The next step took me to Connecticut to join an unpaid student company and get some more experience performing on stage. Finally, after yet another roller coaster of an audition season, I was offered an entry-level professional position with American Repertory Ballet in Princeton, New Jersey. I could stand here talking for an hour and still not paint a full picture of what went wrong. The world of professional ballet is not a place where you can keep your heart on your sleeve and pass through unscathed. In all of my stubbornness, the years of militaristic training did not teach me to be less sensitive, and I struggled. For a while, it looked like my love of the art would carry me through anyway, but then my connective tissue disease progressed, and injury after injury kept me out of the rehearsals, and passion just wasn't enough. My name was crossed off of cast lists. When the end of season reviews came, my director set me down to tell me that although my technique was exceptional, I would not be promoted within our company. I never passed another audition, and I retired from my dream at age 24. Now, it doesn't seem to matter how many years go by. It still makes me pretty uncomfortable to admit all of this out loud. The truth is that I devoted a decade of my life to a dream, and I failed to achieve it. This abrupt ending left me lost in every way. It was the loss of a career, an identity, an art form, a goal, a direction. I felt devastated, confused, and utterly unmoored. I was broken and alone, without so much as a high school degree. It certainly felt like, by all standards of success, this was the end of the line for me. Now fast forward 8 years, here I am, and I'm grateful every day to be in this amazing and totally not ballet field. The intervening years have included a number of new dreams formed and then lost, and a surprising gender transition, and a pretty key ADHD diagnosis. And at this point, here I am entering professional ministry in the midst of a devastating global pandemic that none of us could have predicted. I'm still imperfect. I still have my heart on my sleeve, with no idea what the next year will bring, but feeling readier than ever to find out. And none of this is what 14-year-old Bran had in mind. So it turns out that living in the world is nothing like watching a movie. Our stories don't have a logical arc, an intentional lesson, an evocative ending. Life is so much more complex than that, with a plethora of our own stories intersecting and overlapping with countless stories of the people around us at all times. Before one plot arc even has a chance to reach its third act, a handful of others has already started. And a moral? Applying a moral to the story we are personally living is possibly the greatest impediment to developing the equanimity necessary to keep ourselves grounded amid all this unpredictability. I understand the temptation. It can help me cope with the twists and turns of circumstances which are ultimately out of my control, to imagine that the universe is trying to teach me a lesson. When it's the best coping mechanism we have available, it's better than nothing. But down the line, it can lead to some sticky ideas, like believing that suffering is required of us, or that self-sacrifice is more noble than self-compassion. The more difficult truth is that hardship isn't some mystical pop quiz. It is an inevitable and ordinary part of life. I tried something. I gave it the effort that I gave. It didn't work. Other things happened, and now I'm here. The only part of this process that really involves free will is actually the most important step of all of them. I tried something. In particular, for those of us who are perfectionists, it can be tempting to fall into the trap of imagining all the ways that a plan can go wrong and deciding it's just not worth the effort to begin. I've had my heart broken, so I won't let myself fall in love again. My first book didn't get published, so I won't waste time writing another one. The risk is just too great. I won't make a difference. I don't want to feel that shame again. It's tempting, up against all these odds, to get frozen. The worst part of being a perfectionist is when you discover, though, that no matter how safe you play it, bad things still happen. There is no perfect set of actions which can guarantee a happy outcome. What if, when I get caught up playing it safe, maybe instead of limiting my problems, I'm just limiting my opportunities to succeed? I need your help. Raise your hand if you're familiar with this idea. If you are not succeeding, you are not trying hard enough. What if we could delete that framing from our minds today and replace it with, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough? Thank you. Because here's the thing, every time you approach a big challenge, you have a solid chance of failure. There are dozens of famous stories about this, from Robert Redford's failed career as an oil worker to Oprah Winfrey's public firing as a news reporter. It's clear that in many lives, there comes a time to walk away from dreams before finding a more rewarding path. If nothing has fallen through for you recently, ask yourself, when was the last time I went out on a limb for something important? So in 2015, in pursuit of a particular dream of romance, I tried skiing. And instead of happily ever after, I wound up with a destroyed left knee and a healthy new fear of uncontrolled plummeting. This was the end of my job as a barista. I did not relish the idea of trying to find something I could do from a seated position, but there I was. Listlessly scrolling through online job boards, my eyes skimmed across the words, wanted, director of music, First Parish in Malden. My mind filled with a fantasy, directing choirs, singing for a loving audience, being paid to come to church every Sunday. Before I could get too excited, though, my brain changed the channel on my imagination. I thought instead of the anxiety that I'd feel meeting a new congregation, stumbling through a job interview. I thought of how out of practice I was at music and the disappointment that I would feel later when I was inevitably rejected from this new dream job. Suddenly, I was watching a full-blown montage of fatalistic possibilities, all the ways my life might go wrong if I dared to apply for this position. This time, something gave me the courage to try, and I'm so glad it did. Music direction led me to my passion for ministry. It gave me the tools and stability that I needed to enter into seminary. It channeled the creativity that I had hoped to express through dance, and it let me find new, powerful ways to connect with other people's souls. Today I am, among many things, a failed ballet dancer and a successful religious professional. Misfortune still strikes on a regular basis, but I honestly never expected to be as content with my life as I am today. And now when I take ballet class twice a year, I have more fun than I ever did during my professional dance days. So, did God have a plan for me? Was the universe guiding me? Is this destiny? Honestly, who cares? I am here. Every day I am blessed with a new set of choices to make about where my life should go and how I can make it all matter. So if this story changes anything for you, I hope it's this. Let go of shame and own your failures. They are history. For better or for worse, they have made you who you are today. And next time you're weighing whether to take a chance on a dream, I encourage you to remind yourself that failure is absolutely an option, and what a blessing that might be. Amen. And please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me. These benediction words are also from Brené Brown. We are the authors of our lives. We write our own daring endings. We craft love from heartbreak, compassion from shame, grace from disappointment, courage from failure. Showing up is our power. Story is our way home. Truth is our song. Go now and be lifted up in grace, courage, daring, and compassion. While the refreshments portion of coffee hour is on indefinite hold due to the pandemic, we wanted to clarify that there is still time and space to gather and socialize with masks on. Please be seated and remain seated while we appreciate our postlude.